Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Mike for Sim Racing 604. Today I am going to be talking about my favorite new sim cars of 2018. So 2018 has been a very busy year for sim racing. We've seen a lot of new content come, both as third-party mods and as official content. So since this channel has been largely focused on that new content, I figured I would do a best of list. Why at the end of September? No real reason. It's just been a busy summer, a whole lot to take in. I've seen a lot of views on my mod reviews and things like that, so thank you guys for the support, and I figured I would kind of make a cheat sheet here of everything, or the best of everything I've seen so far in 2018. Strictly opinion, of course, and it was difficult, extremely difficult actually, to narrow it down to 10. I have a notebook that I put video ideas in, and I actually took 5 full pages of that notebook just to narrow it down to 10. So a lot of thought went into this. There's a huge list of honorable mentions, and it was tough to cut some of them out because there's just a whole lot of genius that goes into creating these cars, so I didn't want to exclude anybody. So what I'm going to be doing is making a honorable mentions list, but I did want to do my top 10 so far of 2018. We still have 3 full months to go in 2018, and I'm sure a lot more content will come. But just kind of felt like the right time to do a top 10 list. So without further ado, guys, let's get into it. This is going to span all different sims, and like I said, third-party content and official content. So it should be hopefully an interesting list for you guys, and I will provide links where I can to download the mods or purchase them for your favorite sim. Alright guys, let's not waste any more time. Let's get into it. Coming in at number 10 on my list, the Formula Ultimate 2018 for Automobilista. So Automobilista for the last 2 years has put out what is the equivalent of a current year spec Formula 1 car, calling it the Formula Ultimate. We had the 2017 and then this, the 2018. So most notably the visual update included the halo, but this thing absolutely drives fantastic. It was a big year for Formula 1 new cars in the sim racing world. Of course, we had the FSR 2018 for rFactor 2, which is another fantastic mod in its own right, or add-on car I should say, for rFactor 2. We had the Formula Hybrid 2018, we had the SF71H. So it was just a big year, not to mention F1 2018, the game, which is actually a really sharp game. So it was difficult to choose a favorite, but I had to go with this. I think Automobilista does F1 as good as anybody else, even though they don't call it F1, but they just do a fantastic job. The cars are really great to drive, and the Formula Ultimate 2018 did not disappoint. So for Automobilista, the Formula Ultimate 2018 is, in my opinion, the best Formula 1 car of the year, current year Formula 1 car that is, and good enough for number 10 on my list. Coming in at number 9 on my list, the Ferrari 458 Speciale for Project Cars 2. So this is the most recent addition to this list. It only came out a couple weeks ago as part of the Ferrari Essentials DLC pack for Project Cars 2, and I've just been having a blast driving it. I cannot get enough of this car. It's just so much fun. I can't remember actually how the last time I had this much fun in a road car in sim racing. It really is that good. It's just a fantastic car, and probably the most fun car on this list. I've just, again, had just a blast driving it, and it handles itself really well on the edge. I'm not always a fan of road cars in sim racing, but this one just does it for me. It's just fantastic. 600 horsepower, modified version obviously of the Ferrari 458, and just an amazing sim racing car. So good enough for number 9 on my list, the Ferrari 458 Speciale for Project Cars 2. At number 8 on my list, the Formula NA 1999 from VRC modding team. So this is a brilliant add-on mod for Assetto Corsa, based on the 1999 kart IndyCar. It's got a absolutely mind-blowing engine. It's a turbocharged V8 that belts out somewhere around 900 horsepower, thereabouts, and is just a phenomenal car to drive. As you can see by the wing stylings there, it has a lot less downforce than you might be used to in a modern Formula 1 car or something like that, but it really hauls around the track and is just an amazing car to drive. The Formula NA pack includes a car. It includes the 2012 and 2018 editions as well, and they've hinted at more tracks, and is a really great purchase. To me, the standout car though was this 1999 version, and is just a phenomenal mod and a great add-on for Assetto Corsa, and good enough for number 8 on my list. On to number 7 on my list, well, they don't call it this, they call it the Marod, but this is the Ford Zakspeed Capri as part of the DRM Revival Pack for Assetto Corsa. So the DRM Revival Pack came to Assetto Corsa this year and was met with kind of tepid reviews. Everybody recognized how awesome the sounds were, how awesome the interior detailing was, and things like that, but the problem was that on the first, at least the first lap, your tires and your brakes were absolutely terrible to drive on, and it even might take another lap or two after the first lap before they're really up to temperature. But once they were, the car drove fantastic. So in response, the DRM Revival developers put out a patch, and or actually a new version, 1.1, and fixed that. So the tires and brakes get up to temperature faster, and what you have is a fantastic pack of cars. And the Ford Zakspeed Capri, in my opinion, is the best of that pack, and just drives incredible, sounds amazing, looks amazing. Really requires you to be diligent with your heel toe shifting and things like that, but very rewarding car once you get it dialed in. And yeah, it definitely belongs on my top 10 list of the year. Absolute blast to drive. The Ford Zakspeed Capri from DRM Revival for Assetto Corsa. At number 6, guys, the Dallara F317. So this is a 2017 version of the Formula 3 car, and of course no halo, but the 2017 version Formula 3 car comes to us from RSR. Yes, the guys behind RSR Live Timing brought us this car. The previous version, which was the F312, was also a fantastic car in its own right, and they even went as far as to consult the drivers and teams to make sure the mod was done perfectly. And the F317 is basically an updated Aero edition of that F312, and is absolutely fantastic. So if you're, I mean, it belongs to any skill set, but if you're new to sim racing or trying to get a better grip on open wheel racing, this is a good place to start for sure. It tends to be a bit more tame overall than the Formula 1 cars. It allows you to line up your racing lines and things like that, but gets you an introduction to just how amazing open wheel cars can handle. Now, with that said, when you start to push this thing and really start to up your lap times, it becomes a real challenge to handle. So great overall car for all skill sets, and I've had some absolute fantastic times in this car. There's entire leagues built around this car just to give you an idea of how good it is. So the Dallara F317 is good enough for number 6 on my list for Assetto Corsa, and is available for free, by the way. Breaking into the top 5 now, guys, we have the Dodge Viper ACR from BZ Simworks. This car has no flaws. I mean, to be fair, nothing in my top 10 really has any noticeable flaws, but this car is darn near perfect for what it is. And the most interesting thing about this car is that it is a pet project and doesn't come through one of the usual channels. Most of my mods, as you guys know, come from some of the more major mod companies. Well, companies is a loose term, mod teams. ASR, VRC, RaceRoom Studio, guys like that. But this comes to us from BZ Simworks. So Beto Fernandez, if you follow the Facebook group, was posting development pictures of this car for a very, very long time. He spent months and months developing it, and to be fair, it was a void that needed to be filled in sim racing. The Dodge Viper ACR is a very cool car, a world-class supercar that just had fallen between, or fallen in the cracks of sim racing. We didn't really have one, and he filled that void, and it is a fantastic car. Fantastic car. It's a supercar with a stick shift. Like, how often do you get that? That's so cool. So I've had a blast driving this thing, and the only price is you have to join his Facebook group. But small price to pay for such an awesome mod, and this is good enough for my top 5 so far of 2018. In at number 4 on my list, the Corvette GTE as part of the Endurance Pack for rFactor 2. We got the Endurance Pack a couple of months ago, and it's been nothing short of spectacular. There's a number of other cars that would also belong in my top 10 list, but I didn't want to pack it too heavily. Realistically, everything in this Endurance Pack is incredible. The Norma LMP3 is an absolutely outstanding car. The 911 RSR, also an outstanding car, but if I had to choose a favorite from that pack, it is this Corvette GTE. It's just outstanding in every single way. It's a bit more loose, I find, than the RSR, and really challenges the driver, but at the same time has that sort of legendary GTE stability for long endurance runs. It's a great car to have in rFactor 2 to do endurance races over the course of, you know, a night back into day, or through different weather conditions or things like that. Just an overall awesome car. Again, hard to choose a favorite from the Endurance Pack, but I do And it's the Corvette GTE, absolutely outstanding, and is number 4 on my list. Alright guys, so we are almost there. We're into the top 3. Next up we have the Ford GT GT1 for RaceRoom racing experience. And if you're thinking to yourself, well wait a minute, that wasn't new for 2018, that is strictly true. What is new though is how this car drives. So in addition to new content, RaceRoom's racing experience, Sector 3 I guess is a more appropriate way to put it, took the time to go back to some older classes and revamp them, and this Ford GT GT1 got an overhaul, and it is nothing short of spectacular to drive. It might be my favorite driving car on this list. Absolutely outstanding. Whole lot of power mixed with GT level of handling. It's just amazing. It's so good and really shows off what RaceRoom racing experience can do. Nothing short of spectacular, guys. If you don't own this car, I highly recommend it. It definitely belongs in my top 3 of the year so far. Just an outstanding car in every way, shape, or form, and you're about to hear the sounds of it, and I think you'll agree they're pretty spectacular in themselves, but it's how it drives that really steals the show for me. So the Ford GT GT1 for RaceRoom racing experience is number 3 on my list. Alright guys, we are up to number 2 on my list. Here we have the McLaren MP4 for rFactor 2 by ASR Formula. There's, once again, not enough good things to say about this car. It is absolutely fantastic overall. If you're wondering, you know, isn't that a Studio 397 car? Yes, they released it as official content for rFactor 2 after ASR had released theirs, and both are great cars in their own right. The Studio 397 car probably models the electronics, the active suspension, the traction control, and the automatic transmission a little better than ASR Formula. But in terms of drivability, I actually prefer the ASR version. It feels a bit more technically tough to drive. It really throws you around. If you look at vintage clips of Senna, you know, driving, and you see his head just jolting around on every corner, that's more of the sensation I get from driving this MP4 and overall it's just an absolutely incredible car to drive, and amazingly it comes to us for free for rFactor 2. So what a blast this thing is to drive, and you know, you guys know I'm a big fan of Formula 1 cars and sim racing, and to me it does not get any better than the MP4 by ASR Formula. I love everything about this car. I love the sound, and we even get a bonus version of this car with the V12 Lamborghini engine, which they tested mid-season. So the McLaren MP4 is my number 2 on this list. So guys, this is it. My number one new car of 2018 so far for sim racing. You guys knew it was coming, the Lanzo V12. I've been an outspoken proponent of this car for a very long time. There's not enough good things to say about this car, guys. It's outstanding in every facet. I love how it drives, I love how it sounds, I love how it looks. The RaceRoom Studio GT pack came to us this year to the surprise of many. We thought they were going to focus on open wheelers only, but they brought us this GT pack. And even among the 5 other cars that are all outstanding in their own right, this Lanzo V12, in my opinion, stands out. Just, again, I can't say, there's not enough superlatives for how well this car drives. It's absolutely incredible. You really feel like you're strapped into just a beast of a car, and you can almost feel, even though I don't have a motion rig, you almost get the sensation that you're, you know, struggling against the power of this car. And just outstanding results. And again, that sound, if for no other reason, if you buy this car for no other reason, get it for the sound. The sound will wake the neighbors in the best way possible. It's outstanding. RaceRoom Studio, they always deliver, but especially on this car, I think they just outdid themselves. It's outstanding in every single way. So the Lanzo V12 is my favorite new car of 2018. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. There will be a lot more honorable mentions coming, but for the time being, this is it. This is my number one. Enjoy this full lap replay, and yeah, I think you'll enjoy the sound. Thanks guys again.